another In Conversation with session. I have a wonderful guest today. You've seen some of her work going up on my socials, but today you're going to learn a little bit more about what she does. But before we get into her business side, help me welcome my guest, Helen. Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us. We're looking forward to learn a lot about what you do. But before we get into it, please tell us about yourself, about your business, and everything that you're up to.
Sure. So Integr8 Wellness is a company that helps businesses and companies alike with their wellness initiatives. So we like bringing wellness to the workplace. It's a great place to really get clients to engage. As you know, everybody who is part of a company has their own story.
Yes.
And their own issues that they're dealing with and battling with. And so it's not always just about going to see a doctor. Sometimes there's a need to unpack the problem. Sometimes there's also a need to learn different practices. So we practice mindfulness. We teach TRE, which is a technique that introduces called a neurogenic tremor. So the body is able to release stress and trauma from years and years and years. And so we use these different modalities and blends. We also have our trusted partners who we bring in, so the likes of chiropractors, bios, your live blood analysis practitioners, all to give clients what it is that they need. And we offer this to businesses who are looking to make an impact or a change on their team's dynamic and well-being. So not only do we consult and practice the generic, coaching methodology, but we bring in these wellness initiatives to really get to the root of some problems
that we have
beneath the surface.
I love what you are saying. You're bringing it into a workplace. A lot of people think it's all about just boardroom, get the business done, perform, and move on.
Absolutely.
But for me to be able to move on, I need to deal with certain issues about myself, certain traumas, like you've mentioned. It's so amazing that your business is brought into the workplaces. And I think businesses out there really need to take it seriously, because a lot of people go through different kind of things, and we spend a lot of our time at work. So if I'm going through certain traumas and my mind is not in the right place, how do you expect me to perform? So I like that businesses actually now are looking at helping out their staff members. You can't just want me to perform, but you're not helping me out in any way.
It's about like providing you with tools. So like we've got the unhealthy coping mechanisms, reverting to alcohol, substance abuse, partying. So that takes you down a spiral, and sometimes we have regrets about our behavior, because obviously we're taking in things that aren't necessarily healthy for the body. So when we choose healthy coping mechanisms, sometimes we don't know what those healthy coping mechanisms are. So it's about bringing awareness to what it is that I, as an individual within an organization, am going through. Like, why am I absent all the time? Why do I have this issue?
I don't just hate my job. There has to be something behind it.
And then definitely there's going to be like a financial component. Like, why am I always without money? Well, like we need to treat the body and see the body as, wow, I'm a nervous system, right? I have all of these I have the ability to take in all of this information all the time, and it sits within my central nervous system. So if I don't have an opportunity to clear what's going on, naturally we have this ability to engage with this neurogenic tremor mechanism that I spoke about, and it's something that should essentially be taught in schools.
Definitely.
But we've got our story from age dot, like from when we were growing up. Everything that has happened to us is stored within the body. So we've got these patterns that are running us. Why do I always not have money? Why am I always attracting the same type of men or women into my life? Well, the issue sits within the nervous system, and so we need to bring that up. We need to examine what's going on for an individual, and we need to then provide them with coping mechanisms, tools that for them are important.
And that are also healthy. I like what you
Yeah.
mentioned there, because it's so easy to choose probably not the best coping mechanism and just go to the negative ones, like you mentioned, alcohol and substance abuse. Those are so accessible.
Yeah.
I think literally every ad that I see is about alcohol these days.
Right.
Why is that? That's not a coping mechanism. There's nothing wrong with drinking alcohol.
So I will reach, all I'm looking to do is I want to regulate my system, and I want to reach baseline, because your system knows how to do this naturally. So when you're reaching for those coping mechanisms, it's because the body is wanting easier access to regulation. Hence, like different medications as well that we prescribe, your tranquilizers, opioids, etc., all have the same effect. You're wanting to reach regulation within the system. When you start teaching people about what the system comprises of, how to naturally engage with the body in a way where you're accessing that release, and then also talking about our stuff, having access to a practitioner, a group, which we run, then all of a sudden I'm able to bring things forward and deal with them. But I think the most, the difficulty that we have is that this is a new way of thinking about things, and I think a lot of the time people are really nervous to bring their stuff to the foreground, especially in a work sense, because I don't want to be seen as vulnerable, or I don't want to be seen as weak, right? So I'll just carry everything that I'm dealing with, and I'll try and do my best, and then employers are unimpressed with my results. But really and truly, it's about starting at the baseline and educating you on what's happening.
And sorting out the issues that you're dealing with. It's funny you would say that we struggle to speak out in the workspace, but have you had those sessions in the ladies' bathroom when we are out drinking and you get in there, it's like a therapy session. Everyone is just pouring out how they're feeling, and I'm like, it's great and all, but we're just choosing the wrong platform and the wrong motivation out of it. If we could come to spaces like Integr8 and actually do it right, and then you can heal from that. Because if you're just talking because we've had too much wine, it doesn't really help much.
Yeah, we've got a ton of like really great initiatives. Your sharing circles for ladies who want to get together once a month. We do it around the full moon or new moon, so there's that component. Your yoga sessions are really important because you're getting into the body and learning mindfulness through that practice as well. Sound healing is really imperative. Like, it's a beautiful way to just come, relax. You bring your pillow, you bring your blanket, and you listen to the Tibetan bowls. You connect with that sound, and sometimes in that peaceful state, you get all of those, this is what I should do, or how I should interact.
Your body's more calm. It's actually responding positively.
And then there's those breakfast circles that we do where women are given a chance, women and men, are given a chance to connect. We always find that more women join our spaces.
We like things,
and I really wish we could change that, because I think men also need a place to go. Like, they go through their own challenges. Their system is also taking on all of the stress. Our new fathers out there, the guys who are starting up their own businesses, the guys who work for a business, who have so much responsibility. Constantly you're trying to regulate, you're trying to find balance, you're trying to find peace. And essentially when we go to these spaces, what we find in that baseline, in that awakening, we find peace. And from that state, then you can make decisions that are more regulated. You can, come from a place of harmony with who you're interacting with, etc. But it's all learning about
a lot of times we come across I don't meet you, I meet whatever challenge you're currently dealing with at the time.
Exactly.
If you're like so agitated from something and I meet you, I don't know any of that. And then I'm gonna be like, Helen is such a horrible person. And then I meet you the next day, you're the sweetest person on earth. So like a lot goes on in there, and I like what you're saying, men as well. I feel like they need to, there's so many spaces out there, there's so many spaces they can get into and get themselves involved. It's not for women only. We like things, so we're always in the forefront. I talk to strangers, I can have a coffee with someone I don't know, and I start pouring out in tears. They need to join in on that. They need to join in on that, because honestly, bottling everything inside is not going to help, whether male or female.
We need to make it safe for them as well. Like when your man comes to you with his feelings, like it's about giving him that space, not being accusational about like all of the things that he's done wrong, right? So as women, we also need to know like more about ourselves. I think that's the key. It's I need to have introspection. I need to know what's going on here so that I can navigate this, so that I know how to navigate and help. Yeah.
So do you have like a daily routine? Like, I know that one way or another we all have routines, whether we want to admit it or not, but it's a matter of, is your routine good and healthy for your mind and your body and all of that? Do you have a daily routine that you work on?
So I will tell you that my routine has completely changed since becoming a mother 5 months ago. There's been little to no time for original routine, but it's about incorporating her into that and finding new. And also, I think what's been beautiful is that my daughter has taught me that it's about moderation and not having to feel like you need to push yourself beyond those boundaries. Like it's a whole new world when you have a little one. And I still incorporate in the morning the movement. So movement is really good for getting the body going. You've got all of those creative enzymes that are being secreted. You've got the right hormones which are waking you and getting things moving, including the digestive system, like when you're awake, that
so you need to move.
Bowel movement starts. Movement is great. So I dance with Ariella, my little one, in the lounge. You know, we have like our morning session. If I can get onto the mats and stretch, stretching is really important for the body. As anyone, you know, any body type, like getting into the body and really stretching the fascia means that you are not only connecting to the body, but you're releasing
some tension from it.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is like I was talking about the story in the body. You've got hormones every day being released. So in that muscle, hormones are kind of like the story. It's information. So you're carrying this information. When you stretch that information, you're releasing it. Lymphatic system. Lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. It's not like your heart that can pump blood through. Lymphatic system is taking all the toxins. So it needs you to stretch and go for massages, like pulling apart that.
I'm such a fan of massages.
Yeah, great. And also that touch, that stimulation is really great for the nervous system. So yeah, it's about, and routine is really important. Having an actual routine means that you're taking just that little bit of thinking power, like, oh, I need to get dressed, what outfit am I gonna wear? Like Steve Jobs, I think I was telling you, is one of my idols, and he wore a black and white shirt, either black or white t-shirt, and the same kind of jeans every day, because he knew that you've only got so much cognitive function in a day, so let me not waste it on what to wear,
trying to decide
how
what
to
to
do
wear.
my hair. So it's important. So when you have routine, it's you're able to just plug into that, plug and play, and repetitively know at this time I need to do the following.
I need to do A, B, and
C. And incorporate what you can. Taking your meds is really important, like in terms of supplementation, etc. is what I'm referring to. In the morning, first thing, on an empty stomach, giving your body, you know, nutrients that it needs. Having a really good breakfast is important. That's brain food, right? And if you feel like switching it up a little, what I find sometimes I need lunch for breakfast. Like I need more than just fruits and yogurt. So like incorporate a little bit of your proteins if you can. If you feel like that's something to go, try and keep away from what we call glue foods. So these are the foods that don't necessarily pass through you as easily. So
they make you so lazy. Oh my god.
Absolutely. So like your processed rice, like your white foods, try and stay away from your right. Go for brown if you can. It's a very simple switch. And lots of water, a glass of water before your tea or your coffee first thing in the morning, because ultimately we're made up of 70% water. And I learned a really interesting fact yesterday, is that all of your bottled water that is called purified, pure water or distilled water, stay away from. So all of your bottled water essentially, so water that is pure is not good for you. You want water that has mineralized components, so it's been put through a process where it actually has minerals, Because if water doesn't have minerals and it passes, it's going to find minerals in your body and then pass them out through you. So you actually need to look into healthier resources for yourself. Joburg water is really terrible. We need to get off of tap water, but don't reach for your bottled water straight away. Find companies. There are quite a few companies out there which have a water service, so they come and they fetch the water for you. It's like 120 rand for one of those 12 kgs. Yeah, so I would suggest.
I just drink any water. If it comes out of the tap, goes in. And I think I'm the healthiest person on earth because I've just had that glass.
Water, yeah.
But thank you so much for sharing that information. I really feel like it all goes around the information that you have, because a lot of people will think I'm okay, but not realizing, like you were saying about water, I drink anything, it comes out, I'm drinking it, but that's not how it works. Lastly, before we close, she's a very, very busy woman. She has a client waiting for her right now already, but before I let her go, we're moving into December. Things are about to get out of hand. Make wrong decisions intentionally. Any advice on how we just stay on track? Like December holidays are literally like 2 weeks of your life, so you're gonna be ruining your entire hard work preparation for 2 weeks.
I would say that we're probably reaching a stage now where we're at burnout and we actually don't have. So we're gonna reach for those unhealthy coping mechanisms a lot easier. Start of December, we've actually got a program called the Rest and Recovery Program. It's a 3-week-long program, so I'll send you the details if anybody's wanting to get more info. But engage in something like that now, before December starts. I think I made a comment yesterday about carry a fitness magazine around with you.
Yes.
Like those visuals on like what it is that I want to have be, what I'm connecting with. In the December period, you're going to want to like have that reaffirmation, because January is all about goal setting. We've got a beautiful goal setting workshop happening in Jan as well. Just connecting yourself back to where you want to be and having that reminder, I think, is important. Do the things. You know you're going to do the things, but
we can't stop you.
Right. I guess in moderation, right?
Yes.
So it's all about taking breaks and rest. If you're partying on the Friday, make sure you just have a little bit of you time in between these engagements with other people, because the other thing is that being around people all the time sometimes is a bit draining.
It's overwhelming.
But we constantly want that connection, right? So it's learning to engage in a program that's going to teach you new coping mechanisms, more about yourself, and then perhaps like those engagements are a little different around December, and perhaps you can choose the healthy alternative.
So basically what we're saying is go out there, enjoy your holidays, just moderate your movements, your activities. Don't forget the goals that you've set for yourself. You don't want any setbacks. I know people who start over every year, like January set goals, it's great, we're starting over, body goals are out there, and then 2 weeks in you ruin it in December and you're back to square one. So I don't think anyone likes starting over and over, but the only way you're going to be doing that is if you don't moderate your activities during December. You're drinking like there's no tomorrow, you're not taking care of your mind or your body, none of that.
Well, look, we're human, right? So I would suggest coming for a session, joining in one of the programs, learn how your nervous system works, because once you start regulating the system, you stop reaching for those unhealthy things naturally, and then it's not about forcing yourself.
You're not
pressurizing.
forced, it just comes.
It's like, oh wow, I actually prefer or like. And that's what happens. The nervous system reaches baseline and we can make better decisions.
Wow, thank you so much for your time, guys. I will share her details as well. They're doing great work. Integr8 Wellness is great. You saw some of their work that I showed you throughout the week. I'm gonna share the details. You guys can get the details and join the classes, but just make better decisions. That's all we're saying. If you remember anything from Helen, make better decisions. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, guys. I see you again next week. We're out of here. Thank you.